It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not bad. I just got out of the theaters from seeing Supergirl. It's literally 12:39 p.m. I went to a 9:45 showing. I literally came straight home, hopped straight on my PC and started recording. I didn't want to. I wanted everything to be fresh in my brain space before I started recording. I put everything down on my notes. I had to organize my thoughts. It wasn't a bad film. It wasn't a bad film. I think it had a lot of pros. I think it had great cinematography. I think it had great music. And I think there were a lot of great choices in this film, specifically with Jason Momoa. I'm going to start right there because I think that's probably the best aspect of this film. If you're going to see it for any reason, I think you need to see it because I love how Jason Momoa is getting his DC redemption. After playing Aquaman, he finally gets redeemed by playing Lobo, and it's fantastic. He's a giant ball of chaotic energy. He's funny. He comes in. He can be serious at times. I think he really plays and embodies the character of Lobo well. If you're going to see this movie for any reason, see it for Jason Momoa. He does a great job at playing Lobo. He does a great job, and I really hope we get to see him in future DC projects. He does a great job. Shout out Jason Momoa. Um, Ruthie. The character that Supergirl has to help basically avenge her family. I think let me go back to the beginning a little bit. We start the movie with Kara celebrating her birthday. She's already celebrating her birthday. She's jumping from planet to planet, drinking things of that nature, having a nice time, and then we get to Ruthie, who immediately we see her family just basically die. In the first 5 minutes of them being on screen, they die. And I think that's a little rushed. I think they rushed it. I think we could have benefited from 5 minutes of just backstory for her, of world building. We needed a little bit more world building around her and her family because once we really get the scene of them dying, it's sad, obviously, but the way they die and how fast they die is just you haven't had enough time to actually bond with the characters to actually feel a certain type of way other than just oh my god he Crim of the Yellow Hills just killed them all. It is I think it was rushed a little bit. We should have got a little bit more world building around them. I think we could have really benefited from a few scenes of their family having a nice time. And I don't even think it had to be anything super long or like in depth. Like I'm saying literally just 3 or 5 minutes to see them. She has a brother who literally just dies. I think we could have really benefited from seeing her and her brother like play outside. Just literally just a scene of them like running around, even if it was just like a quick still with no motion of them just, outside playing together, like a couple of frames. We don't get that at all. Her brother literally he's the first to die. And he dies in this really weird way of he sees his sister in the hallway when Crim of the Yellow Hills shows up to their house and he's standing in their living room and he sees her, Ruthie, standing in the hallway looking at Crim of the Yellow Hills talk to their parents and threaten their parents. And he doesn't know any of this is going on because he's listening to music. And he jumps out and he tries to surprise her and he immediately gets killed by Crim of the Yellow Hills and that, follows the entire thing of Crim killing her entire family and her plot for revenge. That gets the entire story going. And I think that we really, if that's going to be the entire basis of the film, then we really could have used like literally 5 minutes of story building. In Superman, we got like 10, 15, we got like 10 plus minutes of literally him and Lois in the kitchen arguing about him doing good. So I think we really could have benefited from her and her family getting just a little bit of world bit of, I don't know why, man. I just had a brain fart of world building. It was literally I think we could have just used a little bit more of that. And one of the because one of the main motivations of the movie, spoilers. I'm gonna go back through spoilers, all spoilers. Is one of the main points of the movie is that she has no family. That's one of the main points of the movie. And literally in the last 5 minutes of the film, she's like, I think I'm going to go back to my planet. I have an aunt there I can stay with. And this entire movie, she hasn't mentioned the aunt once, and we haven't seen her. So I feel like that just kind of switches up the entire thing, because her entire motivation is, he killed my family, he killed my family, he killed my family. What do I do now? I need revenge. And she has a whole aunt that we haven't seen at all. At all. She immediately goes from Krim killing her family to her going to a bar, which is where she meets Kara, Supergirl. And there we see her, she's drunk and things of that nature, and we see her going to the bar, and she's like, who can help me kill Krim? I want to have revenge for my family. And she immediately gets bullied, and honestly speaking, she would have gotten killed without Kara in the first like 5-10 minutes if she would to look for Krim on her own. Like, I'm gonna just be honest with you, she would have died really, really, really fast. Is I don't think that the movie was bad. If I had to rate it on Letterboxd, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 stars. How I rate movies is I go from the middle of 2.5, which is half of 5 stars, and then I upscale or downscale from there depending on my level of enjoyment and critique of the film. I give this about 3 stars. It was it was a lot of strong points in this movie as well. I don't want to just focus on the negative. I think some of the best points of this movie are the flashbacks. I think the flashbacks we see from Kara's perspective of her life leading up to where she is now, I think that was amazing. I think we had an excellent depiction of Krypton exploding. We got an excellent depiction of Argon City. We got an excellent depiction of her parents. And I think we get an excellent depiction of her arriving to Earth and talking to Clark. We get great scenes from Superman as well, David Cornsweet. I think a lot of this film is really good. The small things that could have really made this movie a little bit better. There were even in my opinion, some plot holes. Towards the end of the film, we see Kara get affected by a green sun. Krim has taken Ruthie to a planet with a green and yellow sun, and he even tells Ruthie green suns are dangerous for Kryptonians. There are literally, at this point in time, 2 Kryptonians in the entire universe. I don't know, maybe Zod is kicking around somewhere, but there are literally we've only ever seen Clark and Kara. There's only 2 left. Everybody else is dead. We see Krypton explode. We see everybody in Argon City die from kryptonite poisoning. Alright? We see everybody in there just kind of like die off. And it just made me think, how does he know all of the weaknesses of a Kryptonian? Like maybe kryptonite, maybe, and he even does have kryptonite in the film, which I think, it's a rare metal, Bruce. It's a rare metal. How does he know a green sun will poison a Kryptonian when there are only 2 left in the entire galaxy? There's only 2. So I had to headcanon it that maybe Clark is just this worldwide, that maybe galaxy-wide, universe-wide, whatever you want to call it, that everybody just kind of knows what a Kryptonian's weakness will be, because maybe Clark is just known, especially in the galaxy. We see in Superman, he mentions intergalactic zoo when he's fighting that monster that Lex releases into the city. So obviously he's been to space, so he's just known in space in some type of way, right? But I just couldn't get over the fact. Once that part hit in the movie, and that's towards, I want to say that this towards the third act to the end, where he says that, and he mentions the green sun, and it's just another plot hole would be he took her to a planet with a green and yellow sun, so it alternates between green suns and yellow suns. And why not just take them all to a planet where there's a red sun? Their ship, the one that Krim of the Yellow Hills and all of its people use, has some type of teleportation, extra dimensional technology, causing them to just move from one place to another. All right, that's never really explained. but they can teleport. It's just they can teleport. Why not take them to a planet with a red sun, especially since he seems so knowledgeable on the weaknesses of a Kryptonian? He even has kryptonite. He has kryptonite. It's it, I think this movie did a lot of things well. I don't want to like I said, I don't want to just focus like on the bad things. I think there were a lot of pros. Great cinematography, great music. Millie Alcock does a great job at portraying Supergirl. We see Supergirl is portrayed as sort of this. She has sort of this survivor syndrome where she feels really guilty about being one of the only Kryptonians left in existence. It's only her and Clark left at this point. And we see that expressed even in the film in one of her flashbacks. This is why I say one of the flashbacks are amazing. Amazing. I think her world building was done way better than Ruthie's. It was done way better. And makes sense, right? Because it's called Supergirl. But Ruthie was a main part of this entire film. You can even argue she had a bigger role than Supergirl because her actions indirectly cause Crypto to get injured. She goes to find Kara and she's like, "Can you help me get revenge?" And I don't know if it was Krim of the Yellow Hills just happened to steal Kara's ship, or if he was following Ruthie, but he steals Kara's ship and Crypto sees it, rushes towards the ship, immediately gets shot by this type of poison that is supposed to kill you after 72 hours. It's a, fast acting paralysis poison that after 72 hours will give you, it gives you like a painful death. And that's Kara's main motivation, is to track down Krim of the Yellow Hills to be able to acquire the antidote. It's, and I would argue because of Ruthie's actions, that's where like she plays a very big part, even more than Supergirl. Like it because this is really the main part of the movie is basically her entire motivation to get revenge on her family. And I think Kara does a great job at showing the survivor syndrome that you get from being one of the from feeling sort of you feel like maybe you didn't deserve to survive in this sense. And we even get to see her portray that in one of the flashbacks, like I mentioned, where she's talking with her parents and she's like, "I can stay and I can die with you." She's talking to her dad. She's like, "I can stay and I can die with you, and mom, I can be buried with you. I don't want to leave." When her dad is preparing the escape pod for her to leave Argon City, so she can survive and head to Earth. We also get another scene of her arriving to Earth and her talking to Clark, and I think that's a really great. They are her in the back and forth between David Cornsweet, even though she can only speak Kryptonian at this point, and he can speak English, and he's trying to communicate with her, and he's like, "I don't know why I'm doing all this. You can't even understand me anyway." And I think that was a really great portrayal of maybe you meet this family member for the first time, especially when you thought that you didn't have any actual blood relatives. And I really like how that would I really like that scene. I really like that scene. It wasn't a bad movie at all. It had its bad parts. It had some what I would consider plot holes. I don't consider this a bad movie at all. I would give it a 3 out of 5 stars. I highly recommend. I just saw it in IMAX, which I would, if you can, I would see it in IMAX. I highly suggest that. It greatly just improved the film for me. It was a lot of beautiful scenes in this movie as well. It's very visually pleasing, and I think that's where it's going to keep a lot of people. It's very visually pleasing. I think a lot of the dialogue is great too. I think a lot of the back and forth between characters, her and Ruthie, her and Jason, her and Lobo, Lobo and Ruthie, they even have their own little back and forth after Ruthie gets captured and she sees Lobo gets captured. It's I think I want to say this was a great movie. This was a good movie. It was a good movie. I highly recommend people see it. It wasn't better than Superman, but I think it did a great job at setting up Supergirl's character. And I would see it again. I would see it again. Some movies I just wouldn't see again in specifically in theaters. Like I didn't really enjoy the latest Jurassic Park film, even though it was crazy visually pleasing. it's not something that I said I would spend money on personally to go see again in theaters because I just really didn't enjoy the plot like that. I thought this was a good film plot wise. I thought it was good. I had good dialogue, great cinematography, great music. I just think that there were some points that could have been better. You know, maybe I can't wait to see. I think a lot of things are going to depend on where it goes from here. Another thing is that we didn't get a post credit scene like how we got in Superman. We didn't get a post credit scene. It just once the movie ends, it ends. I thought there was gonna be a post credit scene. I literally stayed around to that like beyond the end credits to where the screen literally just said IMAX on it, and it was just literally me and three other people in the theater. So it's like four people total, including myself, just waiting. And even the guy next to me was like I can tell, yeah, you must be a Marvel fan, man, because I can tell, bro, you was waiting for that post credit scene. It, dude, I was really waiting for the post credit scene because I was hoping it would set something up. Like I hope we would, like I was hoping for anything at that point. Like towards the end of the movie, I was like, I don't care who we get in this post credit scene. It could be Mister Terrific. I would have loved to see Mister Terrific, bro, or anybody in the post credit scene. At the end of the movie, we do see a really great back and forth between her and Clark after she finally says, "I'm gonna stick around for a little while, and I kind of want to see what the Earth has for me. I kind of want to, basically stating that she kind of wants to get, she wants to get situated here, and she wants to kind of feel like she belongs here, and try to find out who she is." It was a lot of great scenes. I think it had a lot of great action scenes. I think it had a lot of great dialogue. It was overall, I give it a 3 out of 5 stars. If you're gonna see it, I suggest IMAX. It was a great movie in IMAX. I really enjoyed the movie. I really enjoyed it. I really had a nice time seeing it. I would 100% go see it again. I just think that it was some things that could have been done better. But hey, you can say that about all movies, right? I if you're gonna see it in IMAX. I think I'm gonna leave that here. If you're gonna see it in IMAX. If you're gonna see it, know that every Jason Momoa scene is amazing. I love Jason Momoa. I'm really glad he gets to be Lobo. He did a great job at Lobo. Millie Alcock did a great job at Supergirl, and I can't wait to see them in future DC projects. I just think that this specific project could have been a little. I think we could have used maybe an extra, I would honestly say we could have used an extra 15, 20 minutes just for character and world building across basically everybody. I think probably the only character that was super sound was like Jason Momoa. You're gonna love Jason Momoa in this film, and I think I'm gonna leave it right here. Go see it because of Jason Momoa. He really steals the show. Millie Alcock did great. The girl who played Ruthie was great. Creme of the Yellow Hills, he did a great job of portraying chaotic energy. He's sort of like a version of Jason. He's sort of like Lobo, except that he doesn't have a code. Lobos even states in the film that he kills for money. Creme of the Yellow Hills just does it for sport. So overall, I think it was a good movie. I think it was a great movie. I would 100% see it again when it comes out on streaming services and it's available for purchase. I'm gonna be one of the first people to buy it. That I'm probably gonna see it again in theaters. I just really wanted to get in here and record while everything was really fresh in my brain space because I think it was a great movie. It just certain aspects of it could have been better, and I want to leave it there. All right, go see Supergirl. See it in IMAX. Great movie, good film. Go.